Welcome, everybody, to the show. As of tonight, we are now officially calling the show the Weekly Aurora. And on tonight's episode, we will be discussing crafting and how it relates to paganism, how you can tie your crafting into your worship and honoring of the gods and ancestors. Now, I do believe that I have prepared myself a few items that I have been crafting to share with you all. I think Scald has something that he is willing to share as well. Hello, Clayton. Welcome to the show. I'm glad to see you
Clayton.
here. All right. Now, real fast, before we actually get started, I did forget to do one thing. I was going to do something special today, considering that it is a crafting episode. I meant to start off this episode with an offering to Bragi. Now, for those of you who are not aware, Bragi is the god of poetry, the god of discourse. And therefore, I feel that he would be a very appropriate god for us to honor at the beginning of today's episode. So let me get this candle in here. There we go. And we will start off. My offering to Bragi is going to be a simple poem. It's actually not such a simple poem, but I will be making an offering in just a moment. I'm going to pull up my poem so that I can remember it. I don't have it memorized, unfortunately, and I feel bad about that. Thankfully, I have it right here. So, we shall start. Hail to Bragi, hail to the god of poetry. We ask that you grant us eloquence of speech in tonight's episode, that we may speak plainly and clearly to all. And as an offering, I give you this poem. It is titled Nothingness. A blank, white, ever-expanding nothing, aglow with the light of indifference, expanding with the ever-feeding, everlasting feeling of perseverance. Though many may well say that none of it is real, a price they are unwilling to pay, a monstrosity that forces you to feel. Nothingness that never ends, feeding on emotions of all, failing a world that never bends, naught but light before the fall. Unwilling, relentless persistence, unashamed of previous guilt, ever pursuing, gnawing insistence, ever wanting to be felt. Something that is never seen, and yet something specially there. As final judgment makes a scene, sincerity leaves me bare. Hail Bragi.
Hail Bragi.
And with that, we shall move on and get started with our conversation about crafting and paganism. Now, in my opinion, it doesn't matter what it is that you are wanting to do as far as your crafting, whether you want to be a blacksmith, a poet, a seamstress, or, I don't know, maybe you want to make books and notebooks, journals for people to write in. Anything that you can make can be a craft. And anything that you are making, you can make to honor the gods or the ancestors. So essentially, anything that you do can be done to honor the gods or the ancestors. And just because you aren't making something doesn't mean you are not practicing a craft. Pretty much any job could be considered a craft. Say you are, I don't know, a construction worker. You can dedicate your work on that building as part of your craft and give it to a god. Pour your energy into it, and they will respond. Now I see that Miss Cheesy Bread has decided to join us, so let me go ahead and pop her into the stream.
Hang on, guys.
Have no video.
I'm
Hello,
setting
cheesy
up-
bread.
Setting up my camera. Okay. Hello,
There
sorry
we
about that. Just got out of the gym, giving my own offering to Thor. My sweat and my pain.
You just missed out on our offering to Bragi.
Oh, oh. It's okay. I'll give an offering to Bragi this weekend, but I am doing more crafting.
And since I read out the poem that I wrote many years ago when I was music.
Okay,
Oh,
who's listening to Little Nas X?
Hold on. Hey, baby. Can you put Industry Baby on a little over there?
Well, if you are interested in hearing that poem, you'll be able to go back and watch this episode so that you can hear it, or you can read it by looking at the Poetry Slam channel on our Discord.
Nice. I'm just going to adjust your mic settings, or however I'm hearing, because you went from normal pitch to very far away.
Yeah.
That seems a little odd, but maybe it's because of the way that I was inflecting my voice.
No, you sound normal-ish now.
Perfect. So, to begin, things that I have crafted as far as paganism goes and my own journey. One of the first things that I crafted was actually this here stone. Now, I don't know if you can see it very well due to the light, but it is a very, very horrible depiction of Odin. I can't draw, but I tried.
So instead of Odin's ass meat, was it Odin's ass hand at that point?
Maybe. I definitely have written some poems that I feel came from Odin's ass meat. Those poems will
I
never
think
see.
anyone who has written anything for the gods has felt that way at some point.
I wish I could say, I mean, yeah. I've written very tiny poems to the gods. There's no record of it because they have been burned
Like,
as part of
hell,
offering,
geez.
but
Even like little love notes to your girlfriend over there.
I don't write love notes to my girlfriend. I just go over there and tell her that. What am I, middle school? Come on. I'm not in middle school.
Okay, but sometimes it's nice, like, like it's like leave something, like, like in the morning for a morning coffee, just put under a cup. You know what I mean?
I've done that, but it's not so much poetry. It's just a very wordy method of saying I love you. And that's really all it is. Just like, oh, it's just a paragraph of like, this is why I love you. It's not poetry. There's nothing poetic about it. It's just a ramble.
Well, there is a style of poetry called freeform, just saying.
That might as well. Oh no! Damn it. Okay. I was gonna show I had other crafting stuff that I was gonna show, but it's in this drive, and that means I gotta stick it to the other side of my computer because I'm using this specific.
Stick it in, cheese.
Sticking it in. Just because if I don't, you're not gonna be able to see it, and I always forget. There we go.
I see a cat tail in the window.
Mm-hmm.
Penis Space Cat says you need to stick it in.
Yes, my cat. He is watching the birds.
I'm talking about my cat. She has.
Oh, your cat's so. Oh my goodness. He's like, "Yep, I'm on camera." Okay. Here, let me see if I can get Google Drive to open up the pictures I took for some of the stuff I crafted. And share screen.
Hello.
Chrome tab. Yes, Google Drive, Chrome tab. That'd be nice. Is it doing it? There it is. Okay. So I took these pictures a couple weeks ago from the first time we were supposed to have that crafting episode. This was the very first thing I ever crafted and it's a very bad carving of Njord, which I had to figure out how to cut with just a knife, which didn't go very well, and like a really rudimentary like wood burner and the markers that I just had on hand, and that's all I was able to do. It
That looks
took
good.
like
I mean, it's a pretty decent one for someone who doesn't know how to carve wood. So
it took
Yeah,
hours to figure out.
and geez, if you want to get into wood carving with a knife, I can actually send you a couple links to a few good knives that aren't super expensive.
No, I got so the one that I used for that was just like a regular like Swiss Army pocket knife. Since then, I've gotten a lot better stuff. I do plan to
Okay,
eventually one day like get another piece of wood like this, which I have. I don't even know where I can get this wood because I just found it.
basswood is probably the best
I
because
know.
it's softer and you're not gonna risk flipping yourself and cutting yourself.
Yeah, the wood that I found for this, I just gotta say, I found this wood in my backyard because we have woods as part of our property, and I found it there near this tree, and that's actually where my outdoor altar is now. But there was a bunch of just wood pieces like this down there, and I just like let it dry out, and then sanded off all the grime off of it, and that's the wood I've been using for some of these. I do plan to eventually remake this one because now I have gotten better. Like
you can always burn that one as an offering.
yeah,
Yeah,
because this is the one of the more recent ones I did for Odin, and I'm very proud of this one.
That
that
one
one looks
actually
really good.
really nice. Like you did a really good job with that one.
It's a little iffy on the side parts, like up there, but I'm very proud of this one. I've made quite a few of these at this point because I enjoy doing them so much. This is probably the most recent one. It came out a little less good for Freya.
Well, if you do Freyr, you never mind.
I don't know. I don't think I'm Freya's type. I don't think I'm Freya's type.
Might be Eric's type.
Yeah, definitely Air's type.
Because I don't think Eric has ever been specified whether she likes men or women. As
I
far as I'm
mean,
aware, there's no references to her having a husband anywhere in the sagas or stories.
well, I mean that's true, but at the same time, in for a lot of usually for also a lot of lesbians, this is one thing I can say that ones that I've met that follow the faith, despite all of Freya's really obvious fuckery with men, considering what she is for as a goddess of sexuality and love,
Mhm.
we usually are like, nah, if Freya has no trouble fucking anyone, we mean anyone.
Well,
I don't think she'd avoid like like a beautiful woman.
as far as the gods go, the one that really has no problem with fucking anything that moves would be Loki.
That's true. If there was
If it
ever an
pulse.
icon, it's
If
Loki.
it has a pulse, he will go after it. Much like Warren G. Harding.
Oh, this one.
For those of you who
Yeah,
aren't
Warren G. Harding was known for that.
Warren G. Harding was a president of the United States
I
who
know.
Fucked
was
everything.
physically incapable of saying no to sex, no matter who it was with.
Yeah, that guy was a
He was
sex
also
thing.
very tied up in another scandal too.
Was he?
He was tied up in many scandals.
Yes, one actually had to do with political corruption.
Why am I not shocked?
Many of his scandals had to do with him having affairs and running off to hotels with random people or sneaking people into the White House just to have sex with them.
Right in the Lincoln bedroom.
But yet Bill Clinton got in so much trouble for getting one blowjob.
Different
One
times.
blowjob.
Different times.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
We are
but
far off of the topic of crafting and paganism in general by now talking about U.S. history. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the conversation on Warren G. Harding here before we go into a crazy tangent.
Mhm.
get us back on track. Talking about crafting, I see you posted a picture of a ring you tried to carve, and it looks like you broke it.
Yeah, this was probably the ring I was most upset about breaking. Now, I have said that the ring was like my first foray into like stone working. Technically, it was my second. And it was soapstone, which I know is really porous and like super soft. So it's really good for the starting point. I was really using it as a way to figure out how to actually make a ring, and I did get a ring. This did become a ring. I wore it for one day after, you know, shaping it and sealing it and sanding it and making it look all nice. And then about 2 hours into work on the first day, I had decided it was like it felt a little bit tight. You know, it was a really hot day, so I tried to take it off my finger, and it just popped in half right at the knuckle. And I was like, "Oh fuck!" And I was so upset.
It sounds like from the sweat and then also from the expansion of it. Just
I thought I had sealed it enough. Hello, Kitty. I thought I had sealed it enough the day before.
With soapstone, you really need to make sure that you're sealing it perfectly. In fact, like if you're going to make a ring from soapstone, I recommend make it a little bit bigger than you actually want, and then coat the whole thing inside and out with a clear epoxy.
that's what I was about to say, with like an epoxy resin or something, and just
That is what I did. That's what I did, but I can only assume that I probably didn't put in the epoxy enough, or perhaps I made it just a little too tight. Because when I had it on the day before, it felt fine. Felt
did
perfect.
how long did you let it cure for?
3 hours, I think.
Not long enough to let
Yeah.
epoxy cure for at least a day or so before it's fully set.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's probably what happened. And as you can see in this picture, in which I had offered a lot of these tries, a lot of them broke, but a lot of these didn't really make it to being finished. They broke while they were being done.
All my failed attempts at carving Mjolnirs or rings from granite and marble and other stones have ended up buried underneath the shrine that I built. So they have become part of my shrine. There's at least 3 or 4 Mjolnirs that I've buried there, and probably at least 2 or 3 rings.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why eventually the snake, that this is what it looked like when it was normal and before it was broken, when I was still planning to fix it. That's why that I am planning to get that tree we were talking about. I am going to bury this underneath its roots as soon as I get it, because it is starting to bud now, and I want to get it before they decide that they're gonna keep it in the yard.
I told you it would come back. That the wick on that tree was still green. It wasn't
Yeah,
dead.
very green.
It just
But I
it
want to
needed
buy.
TLC. Which reminds me, did you trim the roots down and fertilize that thing?
It's not in my house yet. It's still technically on the work yard.
Have you done anything to it, or anybody done anything to it?
Yes, I have. We've changed the fertilizer in it and reburlapped it to get it ready, and gotten a fresh water supply into it. But I just want to make sure that I take it before someone decides that looks interesting and takes it for themselves, just in case.
I would definitely suggest do it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, especially with fall coming in.
Yep.
Okay. Anyone want to show anything else before I just continue going through pictures of shit I've made?
I have
You
something
go ahead.
that I'll show, and then I'll let you continue on with things that you have. Now, as some of you may know, since I have a video about carving runes, I like to make sets of runes out of stone. Now, this is a little Tewaz rune. This is from my personal set on. So, there we go.
Okay, there we go.
Now, these are just little river stones from my set. Every stone is shaped differently. Every single one's unique. None of them have identical colors. In fact, this one actually kind of looks like a wood grain, but it's stone. And I have like the video I have up on YouTube. I carved one set from a white marble. I've got another set that I am working on that I have in here for Scald there. I just haven't had time to work on it recently. And it is a travertine marble.
Ooh.
So that one, as soon as I actually have the time, I'm going to finish it off and get it sent out to you. So, I just need to find the time to actually finish it. The white marble set that I carved, my daughter stole one of the runes, and even though this set was destined for somebody else, I don't want to send them a set with one missing, nor do I want to make another one to replace it. So I'm going to just remake the whole set and bury these. Because the fact that I lost one, I feel they lost their mojo, lost their power.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah,
wouldn't be right sending them to somebody.
I can see that. I wish I had a rune set to show that I have made, because I did make one 2 years ago as a way to start learning the runes. But I also decided to give them as an offering to Odin that same year at Yule as like a show of progress. So I don't have anything anymore. They were just made though out of like a simple branch that I just sliced up into pieces. Yeah.
A
Like,
lot.
Yeah, for me, I'm making a rune set for a friend of mine. But I don't want to show it because she might be watching.
The best keep it a secret. Hopefully I'll get to start making a new one for myself, because right now I'm actually using a rune set. It's the first one I ever had, and it was a gift from another friend who gave it to me when I started about a year ago. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, a year ago.
Welcome, Alexander. Glad to have you here
Welcome, Alexander.
with us. Now, I have here a bunch of bones.
Bones?
All of them stacked up here on my altar that I'll be turning into a wind chime. And I'm going to carve some runes into it. Not just any runes. I'm actually going to put some rune spells onto these wind chimes. I have made some really complicated rune spells in the past. I've made some very simple rune spells in the past. In fact, so far, my favorite one that I have made is actually what I use as my signature for all my pagan stuff. And it is this. And it literally says my name. It is a bind rune created from using the runes of my name.
Oh, I could see. That took me a while to read.
What you see up here and what you see down here is going to be a lot different. This is just my first name, Q. And it is what I use as my signature. In fact, I'll be getting that tattooed on me at some point soon.
Nice.
And yeah, I do enjoy making bind runes for people. Usually when I make a bind rune for somebody, it is actually it is not a rune spell. It is not a magical bind rune, but more just a signature, because I make it out of the names. I've done that for several people so far. I've got one around here somewhere.
Clayton wants to know if you got that book from Leather Village.
I have no idea. I bought it on Amazon. So
Oh, that reminds me. I've got to do something similar. I need a leather book.
oh,
And just to answer the question that Clayton had a few minutes ago, that is true. Some heathens do try to be a little like a lot of everything. I know, because I am kind of one of those people a little, because it's not so much blacksmithing personally, it's just fun crafting, but it is nice to do. But after being away from altar work and worship in general because life's been a little hectic, I'm trying to get back into my original goal of 2021 of like trying to get into the Seder. And
Speaking of
that
teaching-
has so many
teaching
branching
class.
parts.
I will be teaching a class on an introduction into shamanism at some point here soon. I believe the first class that I'm teaching on the Discord is just on paganism in general. Yeah, it's just an intro into Norse paganism. That's happening on Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Following week will be probably an introduction into shamanism.
Mm-hmm.
But
Nice.
every Monday, 6 p.m., there will be a class, as long as there are not extenuating circumstances preventing me from being able to do so. Anyways, sorry I interrupted you.
No, it's fine. I was just gonna say that I can understand. It's like if everybody wants to try everything, that eventually, and if everyone was everything, it doesn't become quite as specialized. But I think it's just a lot of new heathens that come into the faith. They're like they want to try everything because there's so many different parts to it.
Right. So it might not be them trying to be like, oh yeah, I'm this, and this. It just might be like them saying, I'm just trying to experiment with it, just trying to learn it.
Yeah, because eventually they're going to
Because
realize
technically, anyone who does a ritual can be considered a Gothi.
A Gothi is just the person who is officiating a ritual.
Exactly.
There's no specific requirements really in order to be a Gothi other than that you are leading the ritual. Now, while there may be a designated Gothi for a group, like I am a designated Gothi for the Heathen Constellation, I am not always going to be acting as Gothi for every single ritual. It's whoever is leading the ritual will be the Gothi for that particular ritual. And as far as what Clayton just said a moment ago about not using the term shamanism, I can understand why some people get mad at it, but at the same time, most people automatically know what you're talking about when you say shaman. However, shaman is if I remember correctly, a Siberian term. It is not Native American. It is not something that you get from Western Europe. It is not something from Africa or Asia. It is specifically a term used for magic practitioners and mystical workers of the Siberian peoples. Now,
From my people.
yes. Now, the Norse had a term for those people, and that term was Vitki. Now, a lot of people, when they hear about Norse magic or divination, they think of the term Volva. Volva is specifically a witch, and it refers to a female practitioner of magic. However, now in these modern times, the term vulva and vitki are interchangeable, and anybody of any gender identity can choose whichever one they want.
Right.
I see no problem with that. If a guy wants to be called a vulva, he can be called a vulva, and it's just as accurate, just as valid as being called a vitki. The term shaman is just basically used as a placeholder because it is such an easily recognized term by such a large majority of people. So it makes it easier to get people to kind of like get their foot in the door to understanding.
No vulva. Can I say that every first time I heard the word of what a vulva is, I did not think of
Yeah, and then also you just can't say vulva around certain company.
Yeah, you
Right.
just can't, because the first thing you think of is not what other people would think of. It's exactly what you're going to think of, and
It's part of anatomy.
yeah, and all it does is bring a smile to my face. I'm not going to lie.
Like Clayton just said, all those were
What
seer.
just happened, jeez?
They dealt more with divination than with magic work, and Vidki dealt more with performing spells and magic than with divination.
I think it's good for people to experiment to begin with. I just hope that the people who are like experimenting in it don't immediately, because like a lot of people think that that's the thing they're going to be into, and they realize they're not. But for some people it's like I've already spent. You realize, and then you're like, oh, I've spent a lot of money on these things for this thing, and then it's like, just try to be careful, especially go at it, but don't immediately think you're gonna be. That's the thing you're gonna like. 'Cause you never know if you're actually gonna be good at it, gonna like it at all. You might think you want to like make mead, and then you realize, maybe I don't. And then you've decided to buy all the stuff to make mead, which, as far as I can tell, maybe.
But now you have a big bell jar you can use.
Yeah.
Now, honestly, like there's been plenty of people that have spoken to me about how they want to become a Vidki. And like after I've explained some of the things that they have to go through to become a Vidki and the amount of work that it takes to learn this stuff, a lot of them are just like, yeah, okay, I got my introduction, I don't want to do this anymore. And they'll transfer over to wanting to do something else. That's not a bad thing. You have to explore in order to find what it is you really want to learn. So just because you want to do something at one time doesn't mean that after you start it and you are trying for a while that you're going to continue doing it, because you might find that it's not the right fit for you.
Right, it's like college, all right? Like some people go in wanting to do one major, and then they're like get like 3 weeks in and they switch their major 3 other times.
Yeah, kind of like me. I switched my major multiple times, but
right, like
once I go back to school again, like I am back to where I was when I was in middle school and high school. I'm gonna be studying history and get my degree in history because that's where my passion really lies. That way, when I have my master's degree, I have my doctorate degree, I can teach history and teach it with authority. Because while I love history and I've spent countless hours studying it, like I mean, I have spent years poring over all sorts of aspects of whatever particular piece of history is interesting me at the time, which usually is religious history of one kind or another, finding out the histories of all these different religions, or learning about American history, or even Norse history. I have jumped from one to another and one to another, but I know that history is what I want to get my degree in, and I'm going to eventually get my doctorate on Norse history and Scandinavian studies, so that I can actually put out objective scholarly work on the actual like original sources, the old manuscript or the Codex Regius.
right.
Yep. And in the end, it's if you do find something that you think you'll be interested in, it's good to like really check out sources, or maybe if you know people who are already doing that thing, and are probably very much into it, get information from them to see if it really is your thing. Because I know now I'm trying to get back into this, starting this path. I'm doing some kind of satyr work, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm looking at everything from like trance work to like trying to find a filgy to like just figuring it out. And it's so easy to just get spread out into all different directions that you realize you're not learning technically anything. You're not gaining an understanding of one thing. If you find something you really want to try, go at it step by step. Try not to.
You shouldn't go out there searching for your Philgia, because your Philgia.
I'm not trying to like go out and search. I'm trying to learn about it, and even that alone has.
There's really not a whole lot of information out there.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I've noticed there's like not much that can help me with it. So I'm like trying to start back at the very basic. Bless you.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
I don't know what word you use for this. Bless you. Just sneeze.
I usually say
Yeah, Gesundheit.
Gesundheit, that's also a good one.
yeah, it means good health in German.
Huh.
Yeah. One of the few words I actually know in German, one of the few others I know is Waffengeist,
It's totally good.
a face in need of a fist.
Hey, Goat.
Ja,
Ich habe eine Fete an meinen Hosen. Wie kommst du mit?
I have no idea what you said, but it sounds like you made fun of him.
you don't want to know.
Wait,
You don't want to know. I'll tell you after stream.
okay.
Or I'll just text it to you.
Very bad.
Yeah, just put it, DM it to me so I can find out. When you say your figure is the Wolfman, do you mean like the 1950s Wolfman in black and white? That's the specific. Or are you just trying to say you're either a furry or a werewolf? There's a difference.
So I do also have this. This is a Daggers, and it's carved into white quartz. All right. This is one of the first things I ever crafted for my altar, and I'm proud of this because I was very careful when I made it. However, it is not the best thing I've ever made, but it's also by far not the worst. And I keep it on my altar. In fact, I recently did a video about the Vegasier, and I tried to be very objective with the information I gave, and instead of giving like my opinions on things, I tried to keep it to the actual historical facts. Teach it from a objective standpoint. People tend to put too much emphasis these days on like analogies and inferences from the work, trying to say that they believe something because they inferred it from the source material, much like the whole idea of Loki being related to fire because his father's name, Farbati, means lightning, and Laufet means leaves or leaves. And the lightning striking trees creates fire unless you get Loki. But that's not true because there's not a single reference throughout any of the source material that connects Loki with fire.
See if I can get this up. I did want to show this, which I think is the thing I'm most proud of. That's at my altar that I've made. I made this from just some slate that I found on a hike, a very early hike, and I kept the slate around for a while, just sitting on
That is
my altar.
absolutely true, player.
So many feathers.
How do I get this thing to go? I think I can't get I can't get the thing up. Why can't I get the thing up?
Well,
So many feathers. Oh, I found a raven feather the other day on my way to work. That was very nice.
Nice.
oh, nice.
But
How do I share this? Why is it not share?
And Claire just made a good point. Loki does have trouble making fire. There's an entire story about how Loki can just continuously fails to start a fire.
Yeah.
And if he was a god of fire, he would not fail at making fire.
He would be like in a D&D campaign trying to cast
Fireball.
bonfire, but with like a permanent D20.
Always a 1. Always a 1. Fireball. 1. You fail. That is Loki, the poor boy. This is probably the thing I think I've made that I am the proudest of, because this took a while. and it forced me to have to do a lot of different things in order to make it work. I wanted to try and see if I could make this into a sort of runestone to sit at the altar. And after I found this slate piece, I just started carving it out, and then I had to figure out how to make a poem to fit in this. The picture's too small to see all the different runes that were required to make this, but I had a lot of fun with it. It was probably the thing that I made that.
Oh, when you zoom in on it, you definitely can see all the runes. That's really cool.
Yeah, it is a whole poem, and it mostly is just like the first instance that really got me into the face. I just wanted to carve into this to just keep around as a reminder. Don't know why I chose a wolf, or what I assume that's probably a wolf, maybe. That was just the first thing I decided to carve up. Not too much significance on that, I don't think. Maybe.
It looks good.
Yeah,
It does look good.
I was very happy with making this.
Real fast, Clayton. You said you want to find an eagle feather or falcon feather. There you go.
All I can find here are like.
Listen, if anyone ever wants a feather or just like wants to see a feather from like pretty much any bird, go to Stottle over there. Is the guy to ask.
Yeah.
Because like if you talk to him on the phone, like every 5 seconds he's finding a feather.
Ooh,
Well,
a feather!
Like he can, yeah, it's a feather.
Ooh, a feather!
Part of my
A feather!
it's part of my autism, apparently, that I notice those things. So
You know, it's not fair though. It's just not fair because the only feathers, and I barely get to find any. I have like maybe 4 that I was lucky to find, and those 4 I only found because I went to Salem. We were by the seacoast, and I found a lot of seagull feathers. But here in Connecticut, where there are so many hawks, even the hawks that are flying over my house, I can never find a feather. Like I will scroll.
No,
will go
I
through the
vibe with
woods and
that
I
because like I've only ever found 3 feathers, and I've been looking for them, keeping my eye out, even wandering off the trail,
you can't
and never
any.
find any.
I guarantee you that if you come out to Florida and you go hiking with me, you will find feathers, or I will find feathers for you. But I guarantee you.
Listen, if I come out there and we go hiking, I can guarantee you we're gonna find a body
Probably.
because I'm just that black cloud.
I was much luckier finding feathers when I was in college. I found millions of vulture feathers. Millions. Because we had so many turkey vultures that just lived in the on top of the radio tower on campus grounds. And you just saw them everywhere. Hello, baby. Hi, I'm gonna love to get sushi. Thank you. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Thank you for getting the sushi, baby.
Oh, she embarrassed you in front of the whole internet. That's so cute.
Oh, zip your mouth. Thank you for getting me delicious raw fish. But yeah, so many turkey vultures. They were everywhere. And you know what was also there all the time? Crows and ravens everywhere, all the time. And I picked up so many feathers. And I had a friend who just made a habit of going out and picking up these vulture feathers. And I never kept a single
feathers?
Yes, and I never kept a single fucking one of them.
This was a smudging fan until my kids got hold of it. Now it's messed up. But it's made from eagle feathers. And I have a bunch of hawk feathers, a couple eagle feathers, feathers from herons, all sorts of raven feathers, crow feathers, seagull, swans. Yeah, I've got feathers from all kinds of birds. I do need to learn more about how to identify them so that I don't keep getting certain ones confused. But there are certain ones like this one right here where there's only 2 possibilities of what it could be. Well, technically 3. Hawk or falcon, because they're both native to this area, or an eagle. But the eagles that have this coloration are more of a northern bird, so it's very unlikely to be an eagle feather. This is far more likely to be a hawk feather. That's what I actually think
It looks more to me like a red-tailed hawk or something.
Yeah, it's kind of what I was thinking too. The red-tailed hawk. Duck feathers. Now this feather comes from a type of duck that you might recognize. And it's
Fucking
ducks, the sort of greenish black ones that have like the red warped looking things all over their face.
Matthew Borden.
Borden, so can I.
Yeah, right. Go running wild through Florida swamps, plucking random birds.
No, Godestada will be the one to wrestle an alligator to get a bird.
It's like, I want the bird. You can't eat it. I want its feathers.
Just let me get a feather first, then you can eat it.
And then local Florida man breaks all migratory bird laws in a single night.
Hey man, if it gets me some feathers, why not?
At the same time, still upset with the whole unable to find feathers thing. Because we even have wild turkeys running around. I pass by like the exact same 3 wild turkeys almost every day when I come home.
Listen.
And never are there
The offer is
any
still
feathers.
there. Send me your address. I will send you an envelope full of feathers.
Okay.
Jeez, legit, just wait until the fall, because I can guarantee you will hit one like during hunting season.
Maybe if I'm lucky, but I'm never lucky with feathers. I am lucky with bones. So I do want to show this, as I found from last year's Yule when I went down to South Carolina. This is one of many cow bones that I now get to keep. This is part of the strong, right?
That is a very nice job.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of a story from the Bible. Yes, I have read the entire Bible front to cover twice. Anyways, I went to a Christian school. It got reading the Bible meant the teachers didn't mess with me when I didn't want to pay attention. So there's a story, I think it was Samson, if I remember correctly, that slew like an entire army using nothing but a donkey's jawbone. That thing would work pretty good as a club.
That's always what I was thinking. Right now, it's sitting on my ancestral altar, the one that I also use to give offerings to hell. Not 100% what I will do with it yet. I have been very blank on it, but I know one day something's going to come to me.
I have a suggestion for you. Where your hand was at the front, wrap that in leather.
Mm-hmm.
All right, make a handle.
Mm-hmm.
Then what you do up at the top where it's nice and flat.
Yeah.
You carve
Runes into it?
runes into it.
I was thinking the same thing.
And create yourself a little ritual club wand thing.
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
To answer Clayton's question, a lot of the Northeast has wild turkeys.
Yeah, a lot of them.
And also, speaking of sacrificial daggers, I made one.
Yeah,
We
show
weren't
the
speaking
bone
of
dagger.
daggers, but we were talking about making things from bone.
Clayton
Yeah.
mentioned sacrificial
So
daggers.
this is the sheath, which is made out of leather from a deer. Here is the sacrificial dagger made out of thigh bone.
That's a nice dagger.
Yes,
Yes, it is.
wrapped with more leather and some hem. Because, well, why not?
Why not? I will probably try to turn this into some sort of sacrificial dream thing. I have a lot of spare leather.
Is your dagger sharp?
Yes, it is. And it also has a belt loop.
Eventually, I do plan to get back into blacksmithing. It's been a long time since I've done any. because I don't currently have a forge at the moment.
Well, technically, all you need is some firestones, a cinder block, and a metal grate, and then you're good to go.
Technically.
For a primitive forge, yeah, that's all you really need.
It's not going to
And a
work as
hole in the
well.
ground.
I actually made my last forge by taking a propane tank that was empty. Like, I completely opened this thing and I left it sitting for a week open. And then I used a hacksaw to cut a small slit very slowly and carefully so as not to cause any sparks. And then I let it sit for another week just to make sure that there was nothing, no propane residue whatsoever in it. And then I used a grinder and I cut the top of this propane tank off.
Geez, I have to ask: are your firefighter senses going off with what Goat's saying here?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear anything. What did he say?
I left it completely open for an entire week after I used up all the gas. Then put a very tiny slit in it with a hacksaw, moving very slowly, whole time putting water on it, okay, so that it wouldn't spark. Left it for another week. Then I used the grinder to cut off the top. Again, also keeping it wet and spraying it with water so that it wouldn't spark. If you think that I just took a grinder and cut the top of a propane tank off, that's
I'm sorry. Cheese has the same thought process as May. No way in fucking hell would I recommend doing that ever again.
The only reason I felt comfortable doing it was because I took every possible fucking precaution I could. Like, I made absolute sure there was no way there was any propane residue left in it before I cut that top off.
Still,
I'm sorry, but there's still going to be some sort of residue somewhere in that container. They aren't meant to drain that way.
they're not. Holy shit.
You are lucky, dude, because that's a bomb.
Yeah. You could have fucked up.
All right, no, I'm telling you right now, there was
so much
zero possibility. There was zero possibility of any propane in there. There was zero possibility of any residue that could explode.
Hold your thought, Goat. Hold your thought. Cheese. What level hazmat do you have?
Operational.
Hazmat ops, same as May.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that if I pulled out my I don't even think I need to. I just
Your
know
response
that
guide?
Everything is. If I pulled out my response guide, I have a tiny, like pocket-sized one that was given to me by my fire chief. I know that if I pull it out, it'll tell me no in really big letters. No, do not do that.
Hey man, it got drowned in water several times before I cut that top off.
Here it is. I found it.
I stand by what I said. There was zero possibility of any propane being in there. I took every precaution.
No.
Bitch, where's the propane in this? Because now I just need to find it. Propane, phosphorus, pine oil, poisonous liquids, potassium. Where is the R's? Damn. Refrigerant. Propane.
What year do you have? 2020 or 2021?
I have 2020. That was the last version. Here we go.
Might be under liquid propane gas.
It doesn't give me whether it's
Guide 115.
Yeah, 115. Here it is. Guide 115. Gas flammable. Here we go. Including refrigerated liquid. Let's see.
Fire.
Let's start
If
with the
tank,
first-
rail car, or tank truck is involved in a fire, isolate for 1,600 meters, 1 mile in all directions. Also consider initial evacuation for 1,600 meters, 1 mile in all directions.
No. The first thing you should say is the very first thing at the top that says
propane tanks, or basically emptied ones. It is not talking about a tank that you have literally emptied and you have has been sitting open for God knows how long. Like,
Will
I know
form
that
explosive mixtures with air. Will form explosive mixtures with air. Let me just direct everyone who can't see the book, but I will tell you anyway. The very first two words on my 2020 version, underneath fire, explosion of potential hazards. Extremely flammable in all caps and very bold letters.
I'm well aware of that. But again, I took precautions. Like, I fucking researched it for a long time before I took the risk. But I was absolutely positive that I was being 100% careful.
Yeah. Just same thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but like, listen, what you just described sets off so many red flags and alarm bells in my head that makes me want to just, if I was in the room with you, I would have tackled you down and been like, what is wrong with you?
It's not something I would want to do again, but I still did it.
And also, I just want to say this. This has nothing to do with the topic at hand, but just because we had firefighter moments happening, Scald, you'll be happy to know I have been sworn in officially after 1 year.
Hell yeah.
My badges, technically these are not my badges. They accidentally got a copy of the person who was also getting sworn in's badges. So I'm using, these are my badges until my badges show up.
Hell yeah. Congratulations.
Yes, I'll be getting fitted for Class A uniforms very soon.
So
Good.
Borden just made a good point about removing the gauges and the top from the tank, which is what I did. The actual part where you screw on the hose, that got removed. That was removed before I cut the top off.
Yeah. The thing is, OSHA and NFPA. I'm sorry. I'm going to go with
They're very
NFPA.
different.
Hey, I at no point did I recommend anybody do that. Okay? I did not recommend anybody do what I did. I just merely stated what I did. I fully acknowledge that it was probably a stupid thing to do. But again, I was trying to make sure that I did everything as safe as possible. Made sure there was no possible way that it could go boom. There was no sparks. And when I say I was going very slow with the sawing, in order to get like a 1/4 inch slit in it, took me almost 2 hours because I was going so damn slow. It was basically, there was absolutely no possibility of spark.
And Borden, to say something on top of your comment there, also at the junkyards, usually there's someone there or someone that they can call that is licensed to do that as well.
Most scrapyards won't take propane tanks. Only certain ones will.
Right, and those ones, they have a lot of regulation.
Mm-hmm. And I spoke to people. Plenty of people did lots of research on what I was doing before I did it. Now, we are just about an hour into this stream.
Mm-hmm. Back for Clayton's comment. So on bone daggers. It's not a bone dagger that I want to show you, but this, since I have many bones now in my apartment, I have found some uses for some of them, and I do want to show the ritual bone axe or hammer, I guess, that I made with a femur.
Well, I really wouldn't inlay anything with the bone because some bones are extremely hollow as well. So you would need to know exactly how they're made up.
Which bone you're going for, because too many of the bones have the hollow spaces inside that are filled with the marrow. In fact, this bone, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it.
It looks like just darkness in your bone.
This bone actually still has within it, if you can kind of see, it still has marrow in it.
Right. And Clayton, you need to remember epoxy does expand, and you can't always predict which way it's going to expand.
Not to mention, because I did try to do the whole filling parts of it with epoxy for the thing that I made. It didn't do, what it actually did was soak. Like I tried to fill it in order to have the handle hold more. And that failed pretty miserably because the bone soaked it in through the marrow and then kept it wet and very sticky that I just abandoned the idea. Now I have a big thing of epoxy that I got to figure out what to do with. So I don't fully recommend that.
And molten silver would also disintegrate the bone.
Yeah, and then you could break the bone. So I just wiped as much of it off, washed out the bone, and then tied it with leather instead. Which, if I could just get this damn thing to share screen again, I could show you what it looks like. And you can still see there's parts of it that, like right here, that's some of the red epoxy. You can see the stains from trying to actually use epoxy to get it to work. So that's what I meant by hammer or an axe. I was attempting to make one. I couldn't get the hollow to fit, so I tried it this way instead.
I do have something I need to go grab real quick. I'll be right back, guys.
But yeah, Clayton, honestly, your best bet is just to carve the bone.
Yeah.
If you trying to lay anything into it or put anything into it, it's not really going to work because it's so porous and can be so brittle.
Yeah, you want the bone to last. Even especially if it's bone you found, even like getting it cleaned and disinfected is a careful process to make sure it doesn't break.
Right, and if you ever want to learn how to do it, Clayton, I can walk you through on how to do it. I can even send you links on how to get the best stuff to use.
Does it really look like a Skyrim giant club? Does it? Did I accidentally make a Skyrim club?
Jeez, but you're so tiny. You can't be a giant.
Well, maybe I'm a giant to people tinier than me. Did you ever?
Okay, well, you know what? You are okay. The only thing that's tinier than you are children.
That's not true. I remember a guy in middle school who was my age. He was about 4 feet tall. Legit. He was a.
Okay, I mean as an adult, but okay.
Well, okay. No, he was never going to get any taller. I had already had my growth spurts, which was a very late growth spurt, reaching to the height I am now. He had also had, because he had like a deep ass voice. He had the voice of like a man, but he was like half my size. He was at least a foot too small. Okay, so he had gone through puberty. He was not going to get any taller ever. I felt very bad.
Yeah.
So I have here 2 items. First is this. This thing is a branch that came off of a tree that was struck by lightning.
It has Fayu on it.
It does.
I can see it.
It does.
Clear enough, yes, Fayu. I'm going to chop this top piece off right about here or so, and then chop it off right about here. And I'm going to strip off the bark, sand it down, stain it, place that on my altar. The bottom portion here, and carve into something. The rest of it is going to get turned into a handle for my glass.
I know, she's probably home. Please.
And then item number 2 is this. This is my savior staff. This is actually made from 3 different pieces of wood. Each one was found while camping or hiking and has significance. This top piece I found while camping in Ocala. This bottom piece was a walking stick that I had collected on a hike with my wife. And the same with the third piece, which is actually inside here. It came from a hike with my wife. It's wrapped with just a simple brown twine. And if you notice, like it's not straight. It's a very its handle curve that fit basically like perfectly within my hand, creating nice little handles. Follows the curves in my hands. I wrapped it with copper right here. Yeah, copper wire that I salvaged myself. And stripped out of a jump comparable cables. And it has copper up here at the top also. I'm melted copper and onto to solidify the copper, solidify it on here so that it wouldn't unravel. That was hard. I basically had to sit there with a copper wire and a torch and just let the copper drip onto it. Because originally this was a Y shape, and when I tried to put the torch on its lowest setting and just melt the copper directly on it, it sets the staff on fire, and I lost the Y shape. There's usually hanging from here with a crystal on the end that I can use for various magical purposes. But this staff is almost as tall as I am, and it works nice and good for when I got to do sailor work. I'm gonna use my torch to put a burnish on it. Burned it a little bit just to give it a nice color. I probably spent a couple hours at least putting that together, taking it apart, putting it back together to make it look just the way I wanted it to.
Just to tell you, Clayton, that is not a raccoon in my home. That is just my cat. That's just my fuzzy cat boy. That's just my son.
Is your cat a Maine Coon?
Yes, he is partial. He is at least half Maine Coon. He's not big enough to be full, but
well, I have a house panther if that helps. But
yeah,
a Maine Coon is not a raccoon, so you know, like it's a specific breed of cat from northeastern United States.
Here, let me see if I can grab him. You're about to watch me as I fight a wild animal.
So, yeah, I'm excited to actually work on the axe handle and the fading from that one branch. Like I said, I salvaged that from a tree that got struck by lightning. So, the portions going
Boy,
get carved as representation of Thor in
you
some way.
cannot eat my cat.
Oh yeah, that cat's definitely got some coon in
He's
it.
too pretty.
100%.
I can't hear what
I
you're
can tell
saying.
Look at him. He's so big. He's a chunk.
But he is pretty boy. He just hates to be.
Come here, Levi.
He's very camera shy.
Come here.
Oh fuck.
You're gross.
Oh, there's so much fur.
Oh, my cat just stuck her face like right in my boot.
Come here, Parker. Come on. Come here, buddy.
Come here. Oh, no.
Oh. He doesn't like being on camera or picked up too much.
Fine.
This is one of my cats. This is Parker. He's a little snuggle buggle.
I got him twice.
Make the joke, Borden. Make the joke.
Make the joke. Hello, big
This
boy.
is so
My house panther doesn't want to be held right now. So yeah, so I'm all sitting around here with no pussy to hold.
I'm holding big boy.
Hey, at least your cat doesn't have a penis on her face.
Yeah, true. The thing is, at least your cats can't hide in the dark and then scare the shit out of you in the middle of the night.
Frodo, your fur was in my mouth.
Yes, they can.
If you're never,
I have a literal black cat, all right? Don't tell me. Mine's worse. You can hide easily.
Contrary to popular belief, straight black does not blend in at night as well as people think.
It does when you're blind without your glasses.
Dark grays is actually better. Various shades of black and gray.
Well, I know that, but the thing is, it works when you're blind without your glasses.
Look at how pretty that is. Look at that pretty tail, that pretty butt.
Oh, he does have a very pretty tail.
No, okay. Oh, Never get a Maine Coon if you're not ready to deal with a lot of shedding and the possibility of fur in your mouth when you try to be affectionate. Oh,
Let's hear them both, Borden. Let's hear them both.
yeah. The last thing I do want to show just before, like, hopefully we end the stream because I gotta eat dinner. Is the staff that I made last year, which I'm very proud of. This is my Odin staff, which I found the stick on another hike, very big branch. I looked at it and I thought, that's a pretty stick. That'll make a good something. Carved in Odin's face. I carved in the entirety. I don't know if you can see it, or oh wait, no, it starts up here. Carved in basically every rune, all the way down to the bottom, and I just filled the top with a lot of gifts that I've just been given from people that I knew, that I gotten over the years. There used to be 2 crystals up here, but I think one got lost on a hike, and I never found it again, so it's
If
gone.
it got lost, it means possibly that that crystal was intended to go to somebody else, that its time with you was over.
Possibly because I didn't even realize it was gone until I was on my way home, and then I looked over and saw, oh, that whole crystal's gone. Damn, it took forever to glue that on there properly.
Well, I intend to do something like that with my Satyr staff, to have some more crystals hanging from it and attached to it. And eventually I'm going to take a whole bunch of these black feathers, raven feathers, the crow feathers, eagle feathers, whatever ones I can find that are dark coloration, and I'm going to attach them to my staff. So it's going to slowly over time have more and more things added to it.
As it should be. I do have other stuff I plan to eventually add to my staff as well, just more little trinkets. Ooh, excited.
I've got lots of trinkets on here. Like I made this whole shrine, this whole altar out of random odds and ends of pieces of stone that I got from work at the job I'm at now, and one that I had before this one. And like you can pick this thing up, and it's pretty solid. It's basically 3 pieces. Just this bottom piece here, and all of this on top of it right here is attached to another piece of travertine here and another piece of travertine over here. So it's basically 3 pieces because everything's been connected and attached with a construction adhesive so it won't fall apart.
Now, I will say this, and I do love this specific episode because I get to talk about crafting. But I also have to go because it's 8 o'clock, and I haven't had any food since 1 p.m. And I'm hungry.
Good reminding me what time it is, because I have to prepare for the ritual that we are going to be doing on the Discord at 9 o'clock. So in about 45 minutes or so. Yeah, about 45 minutes. So real quick, I want to say thank you to everybody for sticking with us as we talked through crafting and paganism, and even our random tangents that we got into. As you heard in the beginning of this episode, this show is now going to be called The Weekly Aurora.
Oh, that is a good name.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Props to whoever thought that one up.
That was me.
I guess it is better than like whatever dumb thing that I remember saying last week.
I honestly don't remember what you said last week. I'd have
Neither
to
do
read the stream to figure it out. But
I don't even remember what I said 2 days ago.
I wasn't getting any suggestions from people, so I just kept thinking about it. Proposed a few ideas to people today, and the one that seemed to resonate with people was either the pagan perspective, which there is apparently a YouTube called Pagan Perspective, and the other one was the Weekly Aurora, and so the Weekly Aurora won out.
That is a good name. It fits with the theme. That's good.
It does fit with our whole entire channel's theme. So again, thank you to everybody for sticking with us and watching to the end. You'll be able to find links to our Discord in the description down below, as well as links to the latest book that we reviewed, which was Runes for Beginners by Lisa Chamberlain. Quick reminder, we are giving away this here book right here, Norse Myths and Tales, with the foreword by Brittany Shorn, published by Flame Tree Publishing. Great reference book. We'll be giving that away at the end of the month. So if you are interested in winning this book, all you have to do is post a screenshot showing that you are subscribed to the channel, to the giveaways thread on our Discord, and you will be entered. All Patreon supporters do get one extra entry into the giveaway. You'll be able to find a link to our Patreon in the description down below. And I am currently in the process of making all the old episodes of our show from back when it was the Dancing Goats and Angry Cloud show, Patreon exclusives, so you will no longer be able to watch those unless you are a Patreon supporter. And with that, wish you all a good night and leave you with these final words. Remember, there is no one true way. Skull.
Skull.
So.